Hi, I'm Vince Molinari, and welcome to FinTech TV. We're broadcasting from the iconic New York Stock Exchange, and I'd like to welcome Matt Freeman, who is the Executive Director of Stronger Foundations for Nutrition. Matt is the Executive Director, as I said, of the Stronger Foundation, the philanthropic community working to end global malnutrition. Prior to this, Matt held leadership roles in innovation and partnerships at USAID, GAIN, Girl Effect, and the One Acre Fund. Well, I have to say, Matt, it's a delight to have you here, especially during United Nations General Assembly Week here at the iconic New York Stock Exchange.
Thank you so much for having me, Vince. It's incredible that I even made it here because the traffic on the way over was just madness.
You need to, 1 day plus to get from uptown to downtown.
Yes, exactly. And then it took another half a day to get to the stock exchange because there are so many people here today. Seems like an exciting time.
We have just great abilities now that the IPO market is back. Lots of activity that you're walking in today. So
yes,
you're getting the full treatment.
Amazing. Thank you.
Well, listen, a very difficult conversation when we talk about hunger and malnutrition. But part of what we like to do at FinTech TV is elevate conversations that aren't happening around the world the way they should be, and what a better place to do that for the New York Stock Exchange. Yeah, maybe you can ground us. Tell us a little bit about the Stronger Foundation, its vision, the mission, and why it just started a couple of years ago and all the great traction that you have.
Yes, thank you. Well, again, it's a pleasure to be here. So Stronger Foundations is a network of more than 30 global philanthropies that are investing across food systems and health systems in improved nutrition. Some of the largest institutional funders in the world, like the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, Tata Trusts, Rotary International, incredibly privileged long list. And we're also working really diligently to get many newer partners around this table because unfortunately it's quite a small community. So our role is just to be that connective tissue between private giving on a critically important topic that unfortunately has been a bit neglected up until now.
Well, I'm kind of, I say, blown away in the best possible way, given the short lineage of Stronger Foundation and some of the names that you've just mentioned of some of the biggest organizations, foundations in the world that have come to work alongside you. And I guess, we talked a bit about the SDGs earlier today. Kind of the epitome of SDG 17 of partnership and collaboration that you're bringing forward is the Stronger Foundation.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And nutrition is one of those really powerful issues that is incredibly cross-cutting across the Sustainable Development Goals. We typically talk about it in terms of the lens of SDG 2 around global hunger, and of course the links between nutrition and food systems are incredibly interconnected. But actually it's broader than that, and nutrition's role in terms of improving maternal and child health outcomes, the role that malnutrition plays in girls and women's empowerment, and the list really goes on. So we think of it as a foundational issue.
So many of the SDGs as the starting point. I interrupted you a little bit there. You started talking about a little bit about human development, talking about health, you're talking about education a bit. Talk to me about the I don't know if it's the downstream effect of malnutrition on those areas.
Yes, absolutely. So we sometimes talk about a 1,000-day window of opportunity when we're talking about nutrition, which is a period from when a woman first becomes pregnant until her child turns 2 years of age. That is the most rapid period of both physical and mental development for any human being in their entire lifespan. And if we set them up for success from the very beginning with access to quality prenatal vitamins for pregnant women, for breastfeeding support, for access to nutritious foods during those early years, we see dramatic gains in terms of upwards of 5 to 10 IQ points. The increases in human weight and height gain during those times set them up for a longer life of greater productivity. So yeah, it really is foundational to education outcomes, to economic growth, to human resilience.
I'm not sure if I break it down this way that it's proper, but I would say, looking at that 1,000-day window, it's almost an investment in the entire future of that individual, which in turn becomes an investment in society, both from productivity and also maintenance and preventative care, I would imagine.
That's absolutely right, and you can think about that at the individual level in terms of building a really resilient, thriving human being, but also at the level of communities or even global economies. And we talk about investing in human capital. I think an investment in nutrition is a foundational investment in human capital.
Talk to me a little bit about philanthropy, its role in nutrition, catalytic capital. how do we create more activation to solve for some of these issues that we're facing?
So the scale that we're talking about in global malnutrition is just overwhelming. The numbers are kind of heartbreaking, actually. There's more than 800 million people who are going to bed hungry every day. That's 10% of the global population.
It's astounding.
3.1 billion people cannot afford a quality diet, and the numbers just go on and on. And so when you're thinking about solving for that scale of a problem, and something that's so deeply connected into the systems of governments and of communities, you really need to find high leverage ways of shaping those systems. And this is where I think philanthropy has a really important role to play. It can be a connector, it can be a catalyst, take risk out of systems where there may not be enough visibility to try to leverage in larger capital flows. So whether we're working in public health systems and you have philanthropy coming in, providing technical support to build the capacity of governments, or in food systems, working to de-risk commercial capital, to strengthen value chains, really on and on. I think there's an important role as that catalytic first mover. And because we work in such an interconnected space, it's something where it's not possible for any single actor to move the needle on their own. We really need to create that collective community working across systems to create this kind of change.
I want to pull on the thread a little bit there of community, because that is so important in solving. And I think if we start from the standpoint, as you're talking about, as this major crisis that's affecting so many more than you would even think, and then let's look all the way out over here at systemic change. How do we move that needle in a multi kind of stakeholder collaborative way to have that systemic change and long-term solution versus kind of putting the proverbial Band-Aid on the problem?
Right. Yeah, it's one of the most complex challenges that we're facing in our community today. And I try to think of it rather as not a false choice between solving for the problems of today and the specific needs of a particular family today versus creating this longer-term pathway of change. We don't have the luxury of letting another million children die every year, which is what's happening right now, and planning for a decade, 2 decades from now. But at the same time, if we don't figure out a way to turn off that tap, then we're going to lose another million children next year. So what we're trying to do is figure out ways where funding can flow in parallel to solve some of those immediate challenges, while also strengthening those underlying systems of care which communities rely on. And I think by getting governments, by getting communities, the families themselves involved in decision making about their health, about what is grown and what they consume, can start to build that pathway to longer term change.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for joining us today and opening a little bit of a window to this challenge that we have around the world on malnutrition and hunger. Congratulations to you and the team for the amazing work that you're doing already.
Thank you so much, Vince. And I would just say to all of your viewers, if there is anyone who'd be interested in getting involved in this fight, we're creating that single community where all private money can come together, learn from each other, look for opportunities to partner in solving this really critical and sadly neglected issue. So I would really welcome any and all to join us.
Give a shout out. How do people find out more about the Stronger Foundation?
So you can go to our website, which is stronger-foundations.org. We have a very easy way to learn more about what we do, to connect with us. Would really love to hear from all of you.
Awesome. That's Matt Freeman, Executive Director of Stronger Foundations for Nutrition.